Changing Landscapes Bolivia is brought to you in part by Roadrunner Magazine and Outback Motor Tech.
Roadrunner is the most comprehensive resource for motorcycle touring and travel. Read, discover, ride.
Take a landscape artist from Canada, Dominic Medlinski. Put him on a motorcycle. Well, try to put him on a motorcycle and send him to Bolivia for 6 weeks to paint some stunning scenery.
Hola.
Then take his buddy, Scott Wilson, a travel writer who never shuts up. Put him on another bike, and what do you get? Well, you get lost. You see, the GPS stopped working and the map wasn't worth a crap. Having said that, when they got lost well. They met some great people, ate some fantastic food, and saw what they came for. Changing landscapes. Follow along as Dominic and Scott rip through Bolivia, from the Altiplano to the Andes, from dubious river crossings to time out in the Amazon, from street carnivals to salt flats, and from a road of death to a mountain full of silver. Bolivia is a dream, an old-fashioned dream full of grinning characters, stodgy food, and where adventure is the norm. It's one of those places you'll want to go back to over and over and over again. Six weeks in Bolivia. And yes, believe it or not, they're still friends.
Alright, cheers.
This is Changing Landscapes Bolivia.
Hello, here's the Nomadic Bull
And the Zen guy.
and welcome to Bolivia!
Car country.
Woo! Alright.
After 4 days and close to 400 kilometers from the northern Andes to the south, little detour, we finally got to Nomadic, which was our destination in the first place. We are going up the river to one of the eco-jungle camps run by the local indigenous people. One of the reasons I wanted to see the jungle is because I'm always very interested in the forest interiors, but also Nomadic National Park has a very incredible mountain scenery, a little bit different from what we've seen in the north. It's actually quite jagged. So it's a very various and varied landscape.
Basically, we start off with a 3-hour river cruise, which is kind of neat. When you're in town here, you got the choice of 2 different tours. You can go to the Pampas, or you can go to the jungle. We chose the jungle. Dominic wanted to see more big trees, the mahoganies and stuff like that, and plus some of the jungle wildlife. The Pampas tour, you're more or less guaranteed to see more wildlife, but I don't know, the jungle sounds kind of more fun.
It had taken us a long slug to get to the Beni, and we were really hoping the trip would justify the effort. We were not disappointed. A large slice of Bolivia lies in the Amazon basin, and I guess the first thing we noticed was the heat. We had dropped from the frigid temperatures of the Altiplano and the Andes to temperatures that reflected our surroundings, dense jungle. We arrived at our base camp, and I have to say it was a pretty slick affair. They had radio communications, solar panels, a mess hall, a hammock area, and a very luxurious surprise considering where we were. Here, check it out for yourself. So the generators run for about 3 hours each evening. This is our toilets and sinks. You know, the toilets are nice and clean. They're some of the best we've actually been on. And then this is our cabin here, complete with mosquito nets. What do you say, Mr. Medlinski?
It's a beautiful day.
Any tour depends largely on the quality and knowledge of your guide, and we hit the jackpot with ours. Wilman, a gentle soul if there ever was one, came from a jungle village of 30 families, for that's how they count people where Wilman comes from. Speaking English, learned from years of guiding, he proved to be the perfect host. During our 3 days, we made many treks, and with each one, Wilman gave impromptu lessons whenever he came across something of interest.
When there is no daylight, it's possible to move for 1 meter or 2 meters during the year, approximately 20 years or 40 years. Yeah. Coming here. This part is the move. When it's the baby in this place, yes, this is the move. And this dip. Descending the root to the nuke, different place.
Wow.
When there is no daylight, it's possible to move for 1 meter or 2 meters. Yeah, in 20 years or 40 years, it depends.
Our first afternoon, after checking in, was spent visiting a family of 4 that lived on a plot of land the other side of the river. They would live on their plot, around 100 square meters, for a year or 2 before moving on to the next one. They had no electricity, no school, no hospital, and lived a 20-minute hike from their neighbors. What they lacked in modern technology, they made up for with incredible improvisation skills, as we soon found out. During our visit, we gathered sugarcane, and together we ran it through a giant juicer, if you will. The juicer, made totally from wood, made short work of the sugarcane, and before you knew it, we were drinking one of nature's purest energy drinks. Wow. Yeah. Gracias. Gracias. Cheers, buddy.
Si pasa hambre, si los árboles no tienen fruta, pues tiene que comer a ver.
For the rest of our time there, well, we just chilled out and enjoyed some great company. Then, it was back to the Benny and a boat ride home.
On this trip into the Nomadic National Park, I didn't take my paints because we are using guides and there is not enough time to set up for paint. But it is an amazing opportunity to get reference material. And for me, reference material are so important also, just as the sketches on site. Because I paint on site so for so many years. Photographs give me a very good source of material, but it's just a source. On this I build up my own individual brush stroke, my individual color harmonies, and I hope through this trip into the Madidi National Park I will get some good reference material for the forest interior, but also of the shorelines and the mountains of this national park.
Two of our treks were at night time, which gave a different picture altogether.
Expertly planned tours complete with maps, GPS files, and area information. Roadrunner is the most comprehensive resource for motorcycle touring and travel. Read, discover, ride.
Our expedition leader.
Yeah.
There you go. So what are we doing? Snows of Kilimanjaro? Huh?
Jaguar hunting.
Jaguar hunting.
How about the wild pigs?
Wild pig, yeah? Alright, we're about to head out on a 3-kilometer hike. Was it 3 kilometers, Wilmar? 3 kilometers?
Yeah.
Yeah? And then we're gonna sleep in the jungle.
So which part did you get the cacao from? The nut inside?
They dry the nut?
Yeah.
And then if you...
Oh,
This is
yeah.
the seed, yeah. The people they seed put on in the sun for 1 week or 2 weeks. In 2 weeks the seed is dry. Then it's the toss. Yeah. It's natural. It's disappear. It's very, very bitter.
That's how
There
you
is
get,
not a chemical nut.
yeah, that's how you get Snickers.
Well, so it's the foundation of
It's like
Snickers.
lychee, isn't it?
This is the beginning of the dream.
A bit like lychee.
With so much going on in the jungle, it was impossible to know what was safe and what was not. That's where Willman came in. He was a regular Crocodile Dundee, and he pointed out things we weren't even aware of.
For example, this is the lip. In my community, the people they use for the camouflage. Yeah. When the camouflage, they work in the forest for to hunt the animal. Yeah. You can make this. More.
That's gonna be permanent.
Yeah. We look like a big beetroot.
Yeah. The color is they last for 1 year.
Right, come here then.
Yeah. This is the uses for the camouflage. Camouflage.
It's hard to fathom the size of Madidi National Park. We're in our little bubble down in the Amazon basin, but the park itself covers almost 20,000 square kilometers, with topography ranging from the basin right the way up to almost 6,000 meters into the Andes. Some scientists believe it could be the most biologically diverse place on Earth, with up to 11% of all bird species found in the park. Along with Tambalpata National Reserve in Peru, the area is one of the largest protected areas in the world. We hiked on, and at last we arrived at our jungle camp.
how to set up mosquito nets. A little bit different than camping with the glaciers.
It's pretty slick.
Yeah. Delicious. Mmm. Yeah? What you say, Mr. Malinsky?
Yeah, it's highly visually appetizing.
Is it edible?
I'm sure it's edible.
With a great meal in our bellies, we set off on another hike. And once again, Wilman continued to point out things that we were oblivious to. It was amazing how tuned into the jungle he was, and every time he stopped, we knew a new discovery was about to be revealed.
This is yeah, in one group is the other group.
He's saying there's around 100 in the group, thereabouts?
100 or 200 individuals. The wild pigs, everything they eat in the ground. They eat the coconut, the seed, they smell the snake, they smell the frog, they smell the bird, or they smell the animal. Everything.
Okay, now.
For example, more before, the wild pig is very dangerous for the people.
Before?
Yeah, before. Yeah. When the people to hunt the wild pig for it, now it's not danger. More before is very danger. It's possible that the people they use the tree for the clean.
Nothing really prepares you for a trip into the jungle. It's akin to a full frontal assault on all of one's senses. The jungle is probably one of the best environments to let nature tease you up close or from a distance. It's a totally immersive experience that washes over you, eyes open or closed, it doesn't matter. From the scent to the extreme temperatures, the contrasting colors, the jungle food, and perhaps the most obvious of all, sound. The adjustment of ambient sound coming from a rural setting to one in the jungle has to be experienced to be believed. Nowhere was that more evident than when we hiked up to the bluffs to spot some macaws as they flew over the jungle canopy below us. All paintings created during the filming of this series are available for purchase on Dominic's website at www.paintingjourneys.com. If you're enjoying the show and would like to contribute to future free programming, why not become a patron at patreon.com/Nomadic Bull. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we are just leaving our wilderness camp where we stayed the night in the middle of the jungle, and we are going to build a raft to get back to our another wilderness camp. Anyway, it was great just sleeping on the ground with the mosquito nets. That was the second time in my life I used the mosquito net. And just hearing the sound of the jungle, you know, after a few days it really sinks into you, and for me it's great because it's going to be like a source of, like a library of sounds while I'm painting the studio paintings back at home in Nanaimo. I'll be able to reach into my mind and pull all the sounds and the smells of my experience here. Scott, how's the boat making in Bolivia?
It's good. Business is picking up. We've had a couple orders last week for, a couple people in Rubenek. You guys are sailing down to George Islands, you said?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's about far.
There you go.
Ah.
You'll be Got to get a cooler with some cold ones on board because we've had some complaints about the heat.
Our float down the Beni was a great capper to an incredible 3 days in the jungle. It had been everything we'd hoped for, and more. No trip to Bolivia could ever be called complete without an excursion into the Amazon basin. It is, quite simply, an unforgettable experience. Well, it was back to the dust. We left Rurinabaki and headed back up towards Caranavi and onward toward the old gold mining colonial town of Coreco. The road into the Yungas was, well, rather interesting and offered a glimpse of rides to come.
Transparency, tranquility, transport me where I wanna be. I rock the change, I wanna see you roll like thunder. Fearless in the face of it, I am the word you wanna hear. Get up into the stratosphere and out from under.
You can see the tire tracks here. Look at that.
Slowly strangling, just imagine. Don't you be afraid to show.
Hey, buddy! Hey!
Join us next time as we join in the festivities as Coreco celebrates its birthday. We'll also tackle one of the world's most dangerous roads, aka the Road of Death.
Mr. Medlinski! We are doing the Road of Death!
Something in your mind then say it, something in your heart then play it. There is no believer like the one you will believe in. Something bigger than yourself. Don't leave it up to someone else. You've got the power to get you happy. Deliver on your honesty. The truth is gonna make you free, make you one with me. Don't you be afraid to show. All the colors in your soul. Turn it up, go light, wear it on the outside. Everything I say is real. I'm just living what I feel. Never let your dream be denied. Wear it on the outside.
And if you enjoyed this show, here's a trailer for our upcoming Vancouver Island series. Why is it that whenever we feel the need to go somewhere exotic, we get on a plane and leave? What's wrong with our own backyard? What's wrong with Vancouver Island? Well, as it turns out, nothing at all.
Wasn't sure for sure that it was in fact an island.
Vancouver Island is as exotic as it gets, but it's a different kind of exotic. It's not palm trees and margaritas. It's giant cedars and single malt. It's a pristine and wild exotic.
Fish Whisperer and Sardines, they're on camera.
Hi, my name is Scott Wilson, aka the Nomadic Bull. Join me and my good buddy, Dominic Medlinski, the Zen guy, as we explore our island.
54 and 50.
We'll head up north and meet Joey and learn about Cole Harbor. We'll take in a potlatch in Alert Bay and we'll ride the rails in Port Alberni. And maybe we'll just have a tipple or two. We'll meet great locals, hear fascinating stories, ride through stunning scenery, and wallow in a beautiful wilderness setting. Vancouver Island is a gem, our gem, and it's time to share it. This is Changing Landscapes Vancouver Island.
So here's the Nomadic Bull and the Zen guy.
And the acting base commander for CFB Esquimalt today.
The museum is open to the public Monday through Friday, 10 till 3:30.
And admission is by donation, well worth it. Go and check it out.